souls, transforming worlds to a better wonder to behold. No poverty, zero hunger for the elderly or younger. Good health and well-being, good education, empowering women to become sensation. Clean water, sanitation is a right of every nation. Economic growth inclusive and sustained through industry innovation and purely dedication. Yeah, infrastructure be gain. Reduce inequality for sure. Make human settlements secure. Take urgent actions to combat climate change. Conserve life below water and land. Ensure we do not estrange. Justice for all, a peaceful and empathetic nations. Let us all partner to achieve these goals and provide much needed salvation. Each one teach 10, no compensation. Each one teach 10, no compensation.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining. Good morning, good evening, namaste, hola, bonjour, geremaid, terve, and maraban. This is Namya Joshi, your host for the day. Welcome to episode 103 of the podcast Each One Teach 10, an amazing world of STEM, an inspiring venture where we'll be discussing that STEM is part of every day for every kid. We all will learn together how to build a STEM culture. Well, in an era where personalization is the key, adaptive learning is revolutionizing traditional education by using data and technology to tailor instruction in order to meet the unique needs of each student. Gone are the days of one size fits all teaching. Instead, we now have systems that adapt to the learner's pace, strengths, and areas for improvement in real time. So, what is exactly adaptive learning? How is it impacting classrooms? And what does this mean for the future of education? Joining us is Mr. Prabhleen Singh, a creative and interactive educator who will help us unpack the potential of this game changing approach. It's an honor to have you here today, Mr. Prabhleen. So, how are you doing today?
Thank you so much, Namya, for having me on the board. It's so delightful that you gave me the opportunity to be on your lovely podcast. And the topic that we have just choose about the adaptive learning is surely gonna remarkable. So let's start. Let's. I'm eager to discuss a lot of things. Let's share ideas. Let's share some various insights, and let's make the audience full of joy.
Absolutely. So, before we begin, if you know more about you and what do you do, so if you could apprise the audience about yourself.
All right. So my name is Prabhleen, belonging from in Punjab, Ludhiana, India, and basically I'm a K-12 educator who believes that creativity can surely change the education scenario, and how to instill that creativity is the motto of mine, in which I believe that it's only the teacher who can rejoice the learning. It's a teacher who can make the student to see what kind of achievements he or she can achieve, the accomplishments he or she can receive, and I believe that manifestations surely becomes true. And if one has the idea, surely it's gonna make the change. It's gonna bring the change to endless things. So still, I'm a learner and will be the learner for all of my life. So let's ready. Today is just a topic that to discuss, but there's a lot to learn, and especially in the last of the podcast, I'm gonna share my inspiration from which I get some kind of like I get some kind of confidence to be here to speak and to enrich the education. So let's start.
Absolutely.
That's
Thank you,
yeah.
sir. Right. So, beginning, I think let's start by understanding the basics of adaptive or personalized learning and how does it differ from the more traditional methods of teaching?
Oh well, starting with a very good question. Okay, so basic of the adaptive learning. So now it's a It's an educational approach. We know that adaptive learning is an e-content based adaptive learning approach, which uses mainly technology to personalize learning experiences of the students. How the students are getting their mottos to fulfill, how are students getting their experiences to fulfill, what kind of things if they are doing, they're gonna get the companion. Adaptive learning seeks the companionship with the students. It uses mainly two types of elements. First is data analytics, and the second is algorithm. Algorithm leads to programming, and data analytics show that which sector, which areas of the learning, which areas of the student, which he or she is practicing, like which area demands more practice. So basically, adaptive learning is usually based upon the data analytics and algorithm to adjust content, pace, and style of instruction in the real-time progress. And it assesses real-time student performances and preferences. Basically, it is far, far different from the traditional learning. Traditional learning is basically adopting the one-size-fits-all approach. And it's a clear notion. And in traditional learning, we don't have any personalized learning. We just, the feedback is usually based on the fixed curriculum, and feedback is also periodic in nature. Whereas in adaptive learning, if you want to practice a certain section of the task, for example, I give you the English subject. There are generally three subjects, three topics: reading, writing, and listening. Okay, generally speaking comes afterwards. If the student has a pace on the reading section, in the writing section, on a very good note, but on the other hand, listening and speaking needs some more practice. So what adaptive learning will make them exposed to go for those areas more and more. So it exposes the students to particular areas of improvement. So if I go for the differences between adaptive learning and traditional learning, so basically I would go for four differences among them. First is customization. The adaptive learning goes for the content and learning path customization. The student who wants to achieve a particular target in whatsoever subject he or she is practicing, he can customize that particular role through various assessment platforms. Whereas in traditional learning, let's go back to the 1900s era or the early 2000s, where we were practicing the traditional learning approach. There was a standardized approach. Okay, for example, if you take a class, the class of let's say 20 to 25 students, it will go like the one size fits all approach. The teacher want to get, okay students, are you done with this subject, have you got this subject, and the one of the students, or might be 5 to 10 students, will say yes ma'am or yes sir, and the teacher would just admit that okay, everyone knows it. But in adaptive learning, each and every individual receives a particular attention, so it is a part of customization. Second is feedback. The adaptive learning believes in real time and personalized feedback, whereas in the traditional learning, it is generalized. One size fits all approach. In adaptive, we go for the flexible learning paths. As I earlier mentioned, that if a student needs more focus in the speaking and listening uh, areas, so he or she will practice for that only, so that reading, listening, writing, speaking will get at a one pace and more efficiency would bring. And on the other hand, traditional learning believes in fixed curriculum. Once has been fixed, and that's it. And the schedule will go on and go on. No matter what kind of grade, what kind of aspects he or she is following, it will remain fixed. Next, very important difference is data analysis. If I am doing a certain task, I have just completed and task and just clicked on the button of the submit. I just submitted my assignment, and I have just curiosity. Okay, what kind of grade I wanna have? So in adaptive learning, the particular chart would come in the form of pie diagrams, in the form of bar charts, histogram, frequency, polygon. Okay, and that will show me that what kind of things I have achieved. in which areas I need to practice more. Whereas in traditional learning, we are going for the math subjects, science subjects, social science, languages, vocationals on a single note. So it may use or may not be using that kind of technology. So we have to live in present because there's a law of change which we have to follow, and nature too follows the law of change. So that's how adaptive learning is getting revolutionizing itself in the pace of education, and that's how I differ it from the traditional learning.
Absolutely, these are like some amazing ideas that you shared. And of course, when it comes to adaptive learning as an educational approach, it is leveraging technology to personalize the learning experience for our students, and it makes
Yeah.
it more fulfilling and supportive, like almost like a companion for every student. And you rightly mentioned that through data analysis, adaptive learning identifies areas where student needs more progress, allowing our algorithms to adjust the content to our individual pace. And in contrast, like you said, traditional learning methods are having more periodic feedback, which may not offer more real time insights to students' need, but would focus on the already pre-provided curriculum. So the key difference lies in customization and immediacy, where adaptive learning continuously analyzes data to provide tailored feedback and content, wherein traditional methods always lack this dynamic personal touch. And that's what has been giving adaptive learning an upper edge over traditional learning.
See, that's how like you are giving me that feedback. That's a real time feedback. That is adaptive learning as well. I have just sat and
Absolutely.
you just gave me feedback. That's how it works. It's nice.
Yeah,
Okay, wonderful.
absolutely. Right. So, if you could tell us about how does adaptive learning benefit educators in monitoring student progress, allowing, providing tailored support to them as well.
Oh yeah, surely, surely. The tailored support. That's what the standard word, which that's what the generative word I would like to say. You mentioned. Okay, tailored word. So now, first of all, educators and students. The main motive of educators and student is one only: to learn. To learn, for students to learn what teachers or what educators are teaching them, and for educators is to learn how he or she involves the student into that learning. So we have a two prompt strategy in this. So first of all, it is a personalization content. Like adaptive learnings leads to collecting data of each student's performances depending upon the learning style. So it collects the data and it's personalized that what kind of assessments we need to give to the students, basically upon their unique style of learning. For example, uh, various kinds of students are there. The individual differences are there. Okay. It's a limited law that some students will be gifted, some will be average, and some students are special in which we have to focus more and more. As an educator or as a teacher, we have to follow this approach. So for gifted students, for average students, and for the special students, we have to personalize their content, and that adaptive learning assistant is that. Second is the targeted support. It continuously monitors the student progress, continuously, like it identifies specific learning gaps and provide targeted support in that. For example, if a student struggles with math concept, now maths again comes it challenging for many students, especially in India. Okay, so if a student struggles with maths concept, it offers additional practice problems and instructional materials so that student can target that. Students can make a target. Okay, today I am giving an online test. I am getting 600 out of 700 from a particular subject. So that's in maths. But I think like from by adaptive learning, it becomes clear that after I get a pie chart, so after submitting that icon, so I will assess that okay, this area demands more progress. So I will target for that. And moreover, in adaptive learning, we get three kinds of levels: easy, moderate, and difficult. First, we clear the easy level. After going through such test, it will be clear to us that, okay, we can do for the easy ones. Then we shift to the moderate ones. After we clear the moderate ones, then we come to the difficult ones. And the whole kind of comprehension of these questions, we get the proper outcome that which areas must be targeted. So for educators, it also helps that how to target that, which student demands what kind of questions more and more. Next is efficient use of time. Now, seriously, literally, it is worth mentioning that it is time saving. Traditional learning goes for the very much, traditional learning consumes a lot of time as compared to adaptive learning. Because after traditional learning, we get the written test, we have to assess that, okay, the student is suffering from the spelling mistakes, the student suffering from the content enrichment, the student suffering from the structure of the answer. But in adaptive learning, it is surely assisting us. It is getting a report card prepared by itself, and we have to just focus on the solutions. As an educator, we have to focus on that. So it is surely is give us a time saving companion. And the mention of the real time feedback and adjustments. It provides the content dynamically, ensuring the students are always challenged and not overwhelmed. Okay, if on the first chance I get the report card out, okay, Mr. Prabhleen, you are ranking number one from all of the India. I would be glad. Okay, there's no need to go for ahead. But with adaptive learning, the adaptive learning keeps you giving some challenges. Or this sector needs more and more practice. So I will practice for that only. So somehow this area would help surely for the students. For the educator, this is go for the next is data driven decisions. Once we are getting the data, we have to analyze in itself. We're gonna go for example, there are always demand of need in the curriculum. So we're gonna shift to the curriculum adjustment, instructional strategies, and resource allocation. We have some resources. See, infrastructure availabilities are is a true reality that everywhere there cannot be the same infrastructure facilities. So in adaptive learning, once we have good infrastructure facilities, we're surely going to have a good results out of that. Personalized instruction would be there, efficient use of resources would be there, enhanced engagement with the students. See, if there is a student, let me tell you a short anecdote. There was a student in my class. He was literally suffering from the social science syndrome. I can say that. Okay. Once he come to me and said, "Sir, this social science subject is not made up for me. Neither this made for me nor I am made for it." So okay, I was literally surprised. Okay, how can I solve it? I just got through certain like I gave him certain situation based learning. So I showed him certain movies and all. It was just that he wanted to learn in a different way. So I used some adaptive learning technology, adaptive learning tools to drive out what kind of needs he wanted to have in him. And after the situation was solved, now he's like earlier 6 months, he scored merely 55 out of 100. But after 6 months of practicing through situational based learning with the use of adaptive means, literally the way was surprising, he scored 94 out of 100. And that was surprising for me. And that's where I found, okay, being educator, the mission is accomplished. The mission successful. And that's where the scalability comes. The scalability is whatsoever the teacher student ratio, like whether it would be one teacher, one student, or one teacher, 20 students, or one teacher, many students. It will become successful only when you get students' needs to address. How an educator assist adaptive technology to address the students' needs. That we have to understand. And that's lovely upon the educator part that we have to target. And if once such anecdote becomes such true element for us, it motivates us to further enhance us.
Absolutely, and that proves the point that you said. It challenges students and not overwhelms them. That they
Yeah.
have to focus on, striving more to achieve more. And that proves the point that adaptive learning offers significant benefits to educators by simplifying the process of monitoring our progress, along with, providing them support. Since the main goal is to enhance learning, it allows educators to personalize content based on every student's assessment, including those with special needs as well. And in thus, it provides targeted support by adjusting the level of content, ensuring that students receive the questions to their abilities, and then it challenges them to focus on getting better, so that they can be able to even focus on the competency based questions as well. And this overall also saves educators time, as they can focus on addressing specific solutions rather than the entire assessment. And again, real time feedback enables them to instantly understand our progress and offer immediate support where necessary. So I believe this can and is improving the overall classroom efficiency and learning outcomes as well. Thank you for sharing your insights for that.
My pleasure, Samir.
Absolutely. Right. So if like you recently, just mentioned about one adaptive learning anecdote, if you could share some examples of how adaptive learning has improved academic success in educational institutions beyond the example that you just shared.
Oh, well. I would love to. I would love to mention that. I was waiting for that question to come. There are real examples. That's what motivates us. The inspirations, I could say. So now I have certain examples to say, like what I have witnessed or evidenced. So first of all, the major example is the SAT, organized by Khan Academy College Board. Okay, the students who are practicing through these SATs practice, once they submit the exam and how it come to the score. The main thing is the score. How what score they are getting. Whether in English they are getting more, whether in maths they are getting more. In maths, whether they are going for the heart of algebra more and more or problem solving. So it basically exposes you to that personalized maths instruction. So Khan Academy. First example would be the Khan Academy, which prepares for the SATs and are made for the college board or organizations. Next is coming for the Smart Sparrow. Smart Sparrow adaptive learning technique is a technology which is basically right now practicing in the medical schools, which prepare for the real world medical scenarios. So this is basically right now is in US and certain North American parts. Smart Sparrow is being practicing. Then we have Dreambox Learning. Dreambox Learning is an adaptive math program for elementary students. Thus bringing out many positive outcomes. For example, a student basically in like elementary education, basically of the seven, I would get it the age of the seven. The student who is aged seven is basically trying to get all the subjects once he is getting more and more into grading sections. So the maths becomes tough. We all know because the concepts keeps on adding. So this Dreambox learning, what would it states that the student once have achieved. Once, for example, I introduced polynomials. I have introduced a topic of polynomials to the students, and it doesn't mean that all the students are getting the same thing. Or as I earlier mentioned, various kind of students, various group of students. So with the adaptive technology, what I would say, I would divide my teaching into certain groups. But at the same time, I would also state that, okay, this student demands more attention. So we already have a concept of extra classes. Extra classes are just nothing. It's just a technique to focus more on a particular type of students so that they can get the good scores. But if adaptive learning becomes an AI companion of us, being the teachers and educators, then it becomes surely successful for our teaching that we can address the student needs on the same time. Okay, so Dreambox learning is somewhat getting the positive outcomes. It has proven it. Then comes the Duolingo, the English speaking and the English stating subjects, in which we have the speaking, especially the speaking, the pronunciation. For example, I would say the another example is Microsoft. Have you got a reading coach? The Microsoft reading coach. Okay, I have give you a paraphrase. Now you have to just speak that particular lines, sentences, and particular words. If the moment I am pronouncing it wrong, the another moment I am getting that word to be correctly pronounced by the Microsoft reader. That's a kind of adaptive learning. Same time, that is real time feedback. That is flexible learning. That is customization. And that is data analytics. It has made an algorithm. It keeps on programming itself. Okay, that this section is was not worth attending, and we have to make it worth attending. And I would also like to mention the Indian application of test book named as test book. Okay, like a test book is like, for example, I've been practicing for in the textbook for the competitive exams. There are certain mocks. I'm just clicking this some options. I'm opening the sectional test. I'm getting the full length test. Once I complete that, there are certain options whether to view scores. Number one, only view scores. Number two, view scores with the solutions. Okay. And number three, view scores with solutions and mistakes. So there are three options. Whatsoever I have, okay, this is my choice, which particular section I have to open. I would go for that. And afterwards, it is showing me the average rankings. Okay, that from all of the India, what rank I am getting. Whether I'm getting, for example, once I have gone for testing for the full length test. Okay, so I was scoring 271 out of 500 students and all, and below that it was just like mentioning a line. Probably you are rocking. You have to just go and go on, and you believe that after some months, like 2 to 3 months. Again, I was practicing the full length test before just 1 month of my examination, and I was getting the rank of 105 out of 500. And that line appeared again. Probably you surely gonna go do the brilliant work and keep up on the rising task. You gonna surely rock. That's what motivated me. And I'm just like clearly mentioning that I cleared that exam. I cleared that exam because I was getting the motivation along the side, whether it was 12 a.m. in the night, whether it was 7 a.m. in the morning, whatsoever the time. So adaptive learning becomes just, we can say, the true companion, the true friend who is with you, but it's only how you ethically use it.
Absolutely,
That's all.
I second to that. And like you talked about, test book being helpful to you, Duolingo for learning languages in
Mm.
adaptive learning methods, Microsoft Reading Coach, Dreambox to, of course, understand the importance of learning maths. And it is necessary at an early age that students are able to, get involved in with interest to learn maths, because if that's not inculcated in the classroom, then they won't be able to get that in the higher classes, because I have experienced that myself, because I have never liked maths as a subject. It has not been my favorite, but then again,
Uh,
when you're having different methods of teaching and learning in the classroom, you get accustomed to that, and you will be able to progress more when you have good teaching methods. And that has worked for me. And like you talked about SAT with Khan Academy, and of course the Blue Book app as well for College Board. I think it has been crucial and important for me, and beneficial too, because I was able to get assessments results that this is where you made an error, how could you improve yourself, and
yeah.
out of 800 for each question, how much are you ranked? So let's say if
Oh,
I did a question incorrectly, it like maybe that algebra portion of maths. So if I'm getting 700 out of 800, it tells me the proficiency where I can improve in in that area. And overall, like when you're getting your results, it tells how many marks you improved and how can
yeah.
you improve at the area where you are still lacking at. So I think that also helped me to get a better score at my next attempt. And again, I
Yeah.
think when you make adaptive learning methods your companion, you excel. with good scores and good learning and skills as well.
Yeah, surely. Like even before going to sleep, I was having that. At that time, I was having that. Okay, let's do one test again. And and the moment I just got it, okay, all green scores. Okay, the good sleep.
Yep,
That's where I
that
thought,
feels
yes,
good when you see everything is
that's
correct. I mean,
yes,
even if you have something wrong, it gives you that belief that let me check it out where I went
yes.
wrong so that I don't do that again. And
That
that is,
that
of
that
course,
is
beneficial. You should always
that is healthy
have that
curiosity.
belief of seeing, of, where you went wrong and how you could not repeat that thing again.
That is healthy curiosity now.
Yep,
That's
endless learning, of course.
yeah, sure.
Absolutely. Right. So I have a fun question to ask you. What's the funniest thing that has ever happened to you?
Oh, well. Many moments to discover. All right. It was university time. Okay. It was university time, and okay. I was just doing the mimicry of my professor
I
while I
can
was
guess it.
writing something on the board. How he was, yeah. Okay. The period got just shifted. I just went to the board and I started. Okay, students, now open your book. Like he was having some these kind of slow paced volume, and at the moment, I was just like entering. Okay, students, we will study about the international relations. He was having such rhyming, and I don't know that he was sneaking in the from the window to me,
Oh,
and somehow I just ran from there, and somehow I was laughing on me. Okay, what kind of activities I was doing, and later on I found out okay, the professor was himself was laughing, and he just gave me the award of best mimic ever of the year award during my second year of bachelor's. That
wow.
was the funniest thing ever happened. I still remember that moment. Yeah,
I have
I
had
was
such a similar experience, but the teacher did not figure out that was me because there were two people doing it together. So the other one
unfortunate.
got caught, and I was like, "Oh, I wasn't saying anything. I didn't do anything." And that was the same subject teacher, like you talked about international relations. It has happened with me in grade 12. So, I mean, these are some fun things that we do in school, and of course, things to remember as well.
Yeah, those are surely the curated memories ever, forever memories.
Yep, absolutely. Right.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
asking
so
that.
much for sharing that.
You cherished my memory. Thank you so much.
Yep, it's great to relive your moments and remember great memories.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Right. So coming back to adaptive learning, what
Okay.
role does artificial intelligence play in shaping the future of adaptive learning? Since that's the topic that everybody's talking about.
Oh, great. Now comes the largest question. It is so exciting. Like AI. Well, first of all, mentioning about AI, AI in the initial stage was just like everybody knows about the artificial intelligence. Just that's it. Okay, we have some other things. Rather from the human intelligence apart, we have artificial intelligence. Now, the artificial intelligence is more about generative artificial intelligence and more about the gamification I would appreciate in that. So starting from, I would go for certain examples, and the role it has to play in the adaptive learning and how it shapes the students' aspirations to learn more and more. First of all, I would state the references of your recent, Namya, your recent paper. I just read that for the gamified AI-driven assessments, in which you mentioned three types of gamified case studies. So first of all, we all know about the Kahoot. Okay, so Kahoot, the learning gamified education platform. In which what I like about that it has two tools which surely needs to be mentioned, and surely we have to aware alongside our educators and my fellow educators and students to learn this platform. For example, the question generator and the PDF to Kahoot converter simplify the content creation. First of all, I love that. Simplify content creation by addressing each student's needs. It enables educators to generate quizzes, first of all, quizzes of certain types. Okay, for example, the quiz related to a particular subject, quiz related to a particular topic, and quiz related to a particular sentence even. For example, I have just one sentence, I can make two questions, two question quiz from that sentence only. So Kahoot is helping me on a personal note. So effortlessly, it is helping us. Number two, the role played by the most famous, popular, and all-time favorite is by Minecraft Education Edition. Surely, the way you have just created that Egyptian civilization, Minecraft, like the studio you have created in that Egyptian civilization, that is such an impactful creation by you that once everyone or anyone can go through that particular platform, he or she would address like, okay, this thing was not able to this covering me, covering my aspects, and we have to teach this, we have to learn this. So Minecraft education is somewhat penance, and it is provide a panacea to our learnings. Then comes the creative art, creative elements, Adobe Express. Adobe Express, like automatic design uh, recommendations. It provides us see various things of generative AI. We whatsoever. For example, if a student needs to learn from a drawing, we can make that particular drawings as by using the generative AI mode, and that too is helpful for us. That okay, it will be a creative learning. It would be a demanding learning. Once you are getting into that type of approach of teaching, the students will be approaching you and would say, okay, we have to learn from this teacher. This teacher is our favorite. Okay, and parents ask, how favorite? Why you recommend him or her as a favorite? And the students say, oh, he just teaches in different way. She teaches us in different way. She uses creative elements. She uses some kind of things. That's a motivating factor again. It let us become the inspiration to the students. Then that's another role played by Magic School song generator. I have used this, the song generator, the poem generator. But I have just a, for example, even it's a yesterday thing that I have to prepare a lesson. I have to give a lesson to the students. It was on the topic lifelines of national economy. But I have just prepared. I have prepared a song with the help of Magic School. It was a good song, short song, and I have just I sung that song in the class, and all I have gathered the students. The whole proper comprehension. Okay, it was a comprehensive student involvement to me, and all were listening to me only. That was a success. I have addressed the individualized students, individual attention, each student, and I am getting into that kind of posture of teaching now. Now coming to the content, and student will listen to you. Then, Namya, I would also like to address a new application of Khan Migo. Khan Migo is basically right now just collaborated with the Microsoft. It is basically basically a practice, basically a platform right now for the US educators. Soon it will be coming to India. It is wonderful, Namya. It is wonderful. Class snapshots. First is class snapshots, which give high level analysis, like of your students' work. It is a wonderful tool of Khan Migo. Second is it provides you recommended assignments. You have put all the data analytics, all data assessments to the you have given to the Khan Migo, and Khan Migo would give you a report which student needs what kind of assessment. So it is wonderful. So AI is going wonderful in it. Then comes the Curie Pod. Curie Pod is a somewhat like, okay, let's play an activity, let's do an activity, and the students will, okay, they will become curious what kind of activity. I have just played games on that platform. I have encouraged my students to come to me and join me virtually. So for example, if it is 7 p.m. even in the evening, I have made a game and I want that, okay, let's practice it with my students, and I send the link, they will join me. And after that, getting into that, if they are having test tomorrow, the live test tomorrow, I would assess, okay, which student wants more attention now. So it gives me a pre-planned strategy. Then Hello AI and Napkin AI would surely assist in adapting such kind of. So overall, seeking into this, that AI generative AI, all of the AI comprehensions, and the gamification in that. If we involve such elements in adaptive learning and in teaching scenarios, a motive of the teacher becomes truly delightful. And the main thing is in the at the end of the day, what matters is the happiness and the satisfaction. And the main thing is a sound sleep. And that sound sleep you can only get when your day motive becomes true. That's it. If your implementation becomes strong as per your aspiration, then I think nothing can be much successful after that. That's how it works. Further daily overwhelming, there are daily challenges to come. Those are the part of life. But if you are practicing it through ethical means and hashtag use tech for good, then it becomes a successful element for me and for my fellow teachers and the learning adaptators and the teachers as well. So that's how it works.
Absolutely.
It will create a ripples of change if we use it in ethical mode.
True, and I was just about to say tech for good, and of course, it will indeed help to spread ripples of change because AI indeed plays a transforming role in shaping the future of adaptive learning because it is making learning experience more interactive and personalized. And you mentioned about tools like Kahoot, simplifying content generation with question generators, and gamified platforms like Minecraft Education, which are converting the text from the book to engaging game based lessons to interact students and enhance their learning methods as well, and offering a balanced approach to learning because you are just having a you know maybe interacting with the world to have a summarization of the concepts you learned from the book. And of course, Adobe Express automates the design tasks and creates a visually appealing content effortlessly, and reminds me of now when I have to, like, I usually create graphics for my poems that I have to write the poems on. So I give the AI creator for the design that this is a title of the poem and I want you to create a background similar to
Yeah,
that. So it helps me to create the backgrounds for my poems so that it's not a random one, but it merges with the content of the poem and the title of the poem so that it is seamless to read and also it looks good. And at the same
yeah,
time, like you mentioned, tools like Magic School AI generate creative outputs such as poems and songs because
yeah.
that adds a fun element to learning. And of course, I really, like the reference of Khanmigo that provides class snapshots and analyzes
Mhm.
our notes to recommend tailored assignments. So all of
Yes.
these are ensuring that our needs are fulfilled and addressed efficiently. And thank you so much for sharing all of those tools. And I'm sure the audience who haven't checked them out yet will, of course, do that.
Surely, no, surely. It will be my pleasures that the people who are listening to this podcast right now would surely gain something from such insights and ideas that we just shared. And I just want to mention my inspiration behind all these things that put me into this arena, this EdTech world. Shall I show it?
Of course, go ahead.
Surely. Oh well, so ready? One, two, and three. This one, this
Wow.
book just helped me, just like a companion, to go ahead, to learn, to to learn, to adhere, and to receive such opportunities which the life offers you. And it just made me clear that manifestation surely becomes a true element in life if one believes in it and never give up on your dreams. So this book is and will always remain my inspiration. Thank you so much, Namya, for this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that means a lot. Thank you.
Thank
Right, we have a lot of comments coming in the chat as well. The first
you.
one by Miss Neha Sagal, differentiated instructions. Yep,
Indeed, indeed,
indeed.
indeed, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. First of all, thank you so much for the comment. Thank you.
By Miss Monica Joshi, very interesting discussion and the need of our discussion, personalized learning.
Well mentioned, ma'am. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
A good teacher will let all learners realize their dreams and hopes and will help them to get there. I agree.
That's what about teaching is. That's where it is a just target. It is mentioned with the divinity rule here. The
Indeed.
okay, present. I will mention of the surely like Shri Krishna here with this
Agreed.
thing.
Absolutely. Even the smallest changes will make the biggest difference. And of course, you just need to start. That is the requirement.
And yes, and once you get to small steps, surely you're surely gonna cross the mountains. You're surely gonna cross the oceans and reach there where you never have thought. That's what a teacher and a student relationship brings out the positivity there. Thank you so much for
True.
such optimistic mention, ma'am. Smallest achievement,
Absolutely.
biggest difference.
Haha, the best mimic ever.
That would remain
Maybe got
a
another
infinite thought.
award by another teacher.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
Right.
Lovely,
We've had
lovely
such
compliment.
a insightful and amazing discussion today, Mr. Prableen. So before we end the podcast, where can we find you online and what message would you like to give to the audience listening to you right now?
Okay, so I'm already on certain platforms. For example, if you want to connect professionally on me, I am LinkedIn. Profile name is Prabhleen Singh Kalra. And on Instagram, we have YesCora7, so you can join me there. And for further anything, like you can mention me or you can just mail me. I would surely gonna mention here that. So various kind of platforms are there to join, no matter what. And the message for the generations to come, or the like, for example, we have a lot of revolutionized generation these days. And the only message I would like to give that strive hard, aim for the excellence, and achieve high. That's it. Go big or go home. That's it. And we have to go big. Keep rising, shining, because you yourself are the best version. And this is a true thing. And yes, manifestation truly becomes a true element. And always remember that hashtag each one is 10.
Absolutely, and reminds me of the quote that those who dare to persist in the rhythm of life, they exist. And listening to you today has reminded me that adaptive learning, powered by AI, is reshaping education by delivering personalized, real time feedback and support, making learning more engaging and efficient for both students and educators, while ensuring that every learner's journey is unique and valued. Thank you so much, Mr. Prabeen,
Yes.
for your valued time and amazing thoughts that you shared.
Thank you so much, Namia, for giving me this opportunity. Looking forward for these kind of opportunity in the future for sure. Thank you so much for the inspiration. This is my true
My
companion for
pleasure.
this. And
Thank you so
always
much, sir.
remember each one, each 10.
Teach 10. Right. Thank you so much.
Stay
And thank you, everyone, for joining and listening to this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, each one, teach 10.
one,
Have a nice
each
day.
10.